All right, thank you so much for joining me, and I am so happy to announce that we're going to have Wings of Madness coming out next Tuesday, right? November
I
12th,
think so. The 12th.
12th, November
Yep.
12th. So your name and what your series is about.
I'm John Dingle. I think the books go are John Dingle for some publishing legal reason. I have no idea, right?
Ah,
John Dingle. So it's the Gus Wheeler FBI Thriller series. So the first book came out in April, Karma Never Sleeps. Um, Inspired by, I've lived in small towns my entire life. So inspired by some of the dynamics that I've witnessed and, we've witnessed through the years with, moms and their daughters and, sort of the mean girl thing, right? And so
yes.
just musing along, thinking, what would it be like if some of those dynamics, sort of exploded, right? Throw in a little bit of, thrillerish type stuff, right? And then think of, as these women become adults, married, mothers, have daughters, enemies, frenemies, all that stuff. And so that's really where karma sort of morphed. It's like a mushroom, sort of morphed out of that idea. Tons of input from my daughter, my wife, just kind of getting the dynamics right in the story. I'm very happy with where it came out too. It seems to have done pretty well and people like it. So
Yes, congratulations. You hit 500 ratings on Goodreads, and
yep.
I hope that the rest will have many readers. When I finished this one, I said, oh, all right, this is not just one more thriller. There are some unique aspects there that I really loved. You have Mel,
Yep.
one of the characters, and what I love about it is that you don't focus just on the police point of view. So you have Mel investigating on her own.
Hmm.
Do you want to speak a little bit more why you have this relevance, this character on the side?
Yeah, so it's interesting. Being a new writer, right? I've never written a book before. It's my first. I tried this book actually started with Mel being the key
Ah,
protagonist and her solving the crime. I just wasn't experienced enough to carry it off. So I think the book that you're holding is, without exaggeration, easily the fifth or sixth book that I wrote. I really, really wanted Mel to be the lead
cool.
and just couldn't get it right. The dynamics of friends, how would she turn on her friends? Like there's all that going on. And so over time, Gus, who was really a secondary character, I mean, he kind of parachutes in and parachutes out, right? He grew, and then I needed to give him a partner, and I needed to sort of balance. Gus is sort of that chill jazz player guy. I needed
Yes.
an edge. I needed a partner to keep him on track, right? That's where Vanessa came in. So it really was like dominoes. It kind of tripped down that path. And so, but Mel holds a special place in my heart. She was the
Yeah.
first character I came up with. So you'll see Mel through the series. Mel's sticking around.
Oh,
Mel will come
I
back. Yeah.
I hope so, because I missed their book too. We have some reference there, but I was like, oh, wait, we went to another direction now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yep.
thank you for having Vanessa as a good character and a major lead in book two. Usually, I get my name as villains and mean characters, so I am
Yep.
so pleased with that. I love that. Um, you mentioned jazz because musician. Um, why jazz and how is that relevant for the character?
Well, I'm going to turn it back to you in a moment for your musician stuff. So we have three kids, all adulting, all out of the nest. Our middle guy is a musician. He's a professional musician, and he
Oh,
went to Loyola. As you notice, Gus's background, he basically is
yes,
Gus,
yes.
right? He's about 6'4", 6'5", the wingspan of a a swimmer, very lean. He's Gus's physique, and he's dyslexic, so he has Gus's mind that go there. So I really modeled Gus after one of my sons,
Oh,
and it
cool.
was true to life. So the musician part really came out of, how do you make a different FBI profiler? It's been done so much.
Yes,
But as I said, for all the dominoes, Mel, I couldn't really get to be the protagonist, so I had to have law enforcement, right? FBI can go everywhere. That's great. How do you make a different FBI agent? And so that's where my son Sam comes into the mix. All of the info in there, the jazz, what he's thinking in his head, that's really all the help of my son. I mean, I will write a scene, and I'll hit him. All right, Sam, you walk into this room. This is here. This is there. What's in your head? And he just comes up with this stuff. It just comes out of him, right? So I will say the Gus character is as true to life as you can possibly get. That is me channeling a jazz player, right?
And you have the improvisation, so that is a very awesome skill spots.
Exactly.
So that is pretty cool for the agent, FBI agents.
Exactly. That you're a musician.
I played classic piano until in my teens, and then a little bit of violin. But my passion was Chopin and piano for a long time.
Wow, that's fantastic. So I don't want to interrupt, but that's great.
The research of the plants and exotic, that was so cool. Did you have to, or was that coming from one of your sons or daughters?
No. It's funny. I grew up through my early adulthood reading mysteries and thrillers, and the ones that I loved the most were the James Patterson books, the Michael Connelly books.
Oh yes,
John Sanford, his Prey series. The Kay Scarpetta series with Patricia Cornwell. Those were the books where there was always something different in them. And I personally just love reading a book where it's fiction, right? We all know it's fiction, it's made up. But I love reading a book where the author sort of brings me through and almost teaches me something. Whether it's in the Kay Scarpetta books, the process of the autopsy, or like, I just feel like those are the details that matter,
Yeah.
And so when I wrote this book, when I started it, I made the rookie mistake that every author apparently makes, is that it was all plot, no character. So the book, I mean, I just dread what I gave my first editor for a book to read, right? The torture chamber I put him through, but it was all about the poison. And so I really did it. That was just research. I just did a deep dive in exotic. I had known some of it just from reading. I'm geeky and read like Discover magazine and stuff, right? So I knew some of that was out there. So I deep dove into that, and I liked it because it wasn't common. And so if it's something unique, you can sort of use that peppered throughout, and that can be the aha moment type thing. So that's what.
Yeah, you have a great of aha moments, and you have a great of plot twists, well entwined and well written in the end. I totally recommend this series, debut series. But like I said in my review, if this is a debut, sign me up for the rest of the series, because the author always makes an effort to bring something unique to each. So in the volume 2, we go to a big city, and we have a different kind of focus and themes. Do you want to start teasing people to grab this one next Tuesday?
Yes. So this comes out on November 12th. Please. Pre-orders are huge for new authors. Please. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever you buy books. So this book came out of, again, an geeky, interesting thing of mine, in that it follows Gus and Vanessa, the FBI profilers. They go to their next case. The first book is all in a very country town with trails and wilderness and that sort of thing. So I wanted to do something different, right? So this is based in, it's sort of a modest-sized city in Massachusetts. And the city goes along the Merrimack River, so it really was there for the textile industry. And so one of the geeky things that I've learned or loved in the past is I used to watch a show on History Channel called Cities of the Underworld. And they would speak to, and all of major cities are mostly built on former cities, and how there are all these tunnels. But then the famous ones are the catacombs in Paris.
Yes.
But there are thousands of others. And so I sort of morphed it with this city being that way, being a miniature version of that. You can tell by the cover, there are tunnels involved. And really morphing it with this city having it there for the Prohibition era, where they could smuggle bootleg out onto the rivers, right? So that all swirled together. I'm like, how can I make that interesting, right? That's kind of like a weird, right? I can make it interesting. And so you lay over some thriller, lay over, women going missing and that sort of thing. And Wings of Madness was born. I really didn't come up with the concept of the tunnels easily halfway, 2/3 through the book. I had to go back.
Oh, cool.
Like, I just wrote the book about a musician. It started with Taylor and his slip into psychosis. The book was so heavy on that. I had to kind of reel it back in a bit and make it more of a thriller. And I love it. It came out fantastic. And hats off to my editor, Sinclair, at the publisher. She crushed it. She absolutely crushed it.
Great work. You actually made me fear for Vanessa in a lot of moments. I was like, I don't know if I want to continue or if I must not sleep tonight.
Well,
So
that's
it was
great.
like
That's the
so
intent.
tense, so cool. Yeah, you people just pre-order this one. Also, it's very episodic. You can enjoy each book standalone. Also, there are reference, but they're very unique, and you can enjoy them as standalone. So, I always recommend starting with first book, but this one, don't miss it. Pre-order it and grab it because it's totally worth it. What was the hardest part to write? Book one or book two? Pick.
Um, Hands down, book two, hands down. So book one, Karma Never Sleeps, wasn't really difficult to write per se, but it was a marathon, right? I think
Okay.
that book really was written over probably 8 or 9 years by the
Oh,
time I got it published, right? It's like, and many authors say that you keep churning it.
yes, yes.
There's a saying in the publishing industry which I never knew before about your sophomore book, your second book, and the saying is she's a bitch.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yes,
and
it's
I
true.
and you and I messaged back and forth on this. That book was so challenging for me to write. Like I said, I wrote it, most of it, came back on the tunnel aspect, came back on other things. But I was so heavy into Taylor, the character, and his psychosis and his trip
Yes,
down that path. I just couldn't get it right. The first draft that I gave to one of my trusted readers, they shredded it, absolutely shredded it. This was just not working. My second draft was sort of okay. I thought it was okay. I put it into the publisher. I then pulled it back from the publisher a month later without any of their edits, thinking, I have to make this better. I know it can be better. That was my second turn, gave it to the publisher. They came back and said, this character's not working. So it was mostly
oh,
around the Taylor character. And she gave me great, I mean, she just nailed exactly what I had been missing really since day one with the arc of this character. And I rewrote it, and then she's like, boom, done. And that's the book you hold in your hand. So by far this
yep.
book, that character was so difficult for me to write. Hopefully now I've got the drill down and the next book will be easier.
All right. Speaking of the next book, do you have already a draft for the third one?
Yeah,
Are
so
you
the
working
next
on
book,
it?
we have no name. It's untitled at the moment. I have some working titles, but I'll keep those secret here. But the next book is just Gus Book 3. It comes out next July 29th, I believe, 2026. And this story revolves around a small rural area of northern Maine. And Gus and Vanessa get called in because there are some
Oh,
mysterious murders they find. It revolves around a very small, remote, very faithful, loyal church. And the
oh,
priest
cool.
in the church adheres to really the Old Testament and a really ancient doctrine. And so you can see the swirls of Bible passages and clues that have them following through ancient scripture to find and solve the crime. So
Oh, I'm already into it.
July
Summer.
29th, 2026. Yep, summer. And
Okay.
the first draft is due in January, and I'm
Hmm.
probably about 50 pages done away from finishing
All
the first
right.
draft. So pretty done, pretty close.
Okay. I'm
Yep.
excited already.
Yeah, as am
Cool.
I. Well, the titles, I will say the title of the first book of Karma Never
Yes.
Sleeps was not that until the 11th hour. The original
Oh.
title on that was What Came Around. I love that title. The publisher shot it down immediately, but I
Oh.
love that title. And this title really came to me. So the publisher chose the first title, Karma Never Sleeps, and they nailed it. Great title. This title, Wings of Madness, this was untitled all the way up until the night before I turned it into the
Wow.
publisher. And I had the quote that's in the front of it, and I just thought, what if that's a good title? And sure enough, they pump all the titles through AI to see what the kind of
Yes.
response would be. And it was a great title. And so it really was like the 11th and a half hour that title came out. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I like that. That's like a little fact that you can add to your website because it's pretty cool to know.
Exactly.
A lot of readers.
Oh, I hope
And
so. I hope so. Thank
thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much. I really love, and I'm already excited. Count me in for your RC team for your third one.
Right. And Anna, as I said on the DM, thank you so much. You were the first one, very first one to review
Oh,
things. And the review
well,
just made me smile. It was such a great
oh,
review, and it was a great way to start the process. So thank you so much.
you're welcome. It's deserving. It's worth it. So thank you so much, and I will hope to speak to you with your holding your third book next summer.
Absolutely. Any time that works for you. Absolutely. I love it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
All right.
Thank you.